Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, welcome. I don't know what that was. I'm very excited about this video. I'm so excited because it's going to be about pageants. I have become a really big pageant fan within the last 5 years because I competed at Miss Houston and I competed at Miss Texas back in 2023. This year is the 75th edition of the Miss USA pageant. So I thought, this year is the 75th edition of this year is the Miss This year is the 75th edition of the Miss USA pageant. So I thought, what better way to commemorate that than to come up with a list of the best Miss USAs of all time. This is a list of people who I feel like have had a positive impact on Miss USA. And to be quite frank, I just think they're pleasing to look at. That's why they're on the list. Before I get started, like, comment, share, subscribe. Now let's get into it.
And now we have found the most beautiful girl in the USA.
Nebraska!
Congratulations, Karen. Put the crown on her there.
Number 20, Miss USA 1952, Jackie Lowry. She was the first ever Miss USA. So obviously, it's only right that she's on this list, being that she's the first Miss USA in history. She was born in New York and competed against 42 other contestants. This was before Alaska and Hawaii were states. She advanced to the top 10 at the Miss Universe pageant, which also happened for the first time this year. During this time, Miss USA didn't just get a crown and a sash, but she also got a cape and a scepter. Did you know the Miss USA pageant was created by the owner of Catalina Swimwear, who was a sponsor of the Miss America pageant? After withdrawing their sponsorship from the Miss America pageant, they created a more fashion-forward contest that turned into one of the most globally recognized pageants that we know today. Number 19, Miss USA 2001, Candace Kruger. She was born in Texas. I was also born in Texas, and she competed at the Miss Texas pageant for 6 years. Then in 2001, she made it to the semifinals for the first time, where she was crowned Miss Texas. When she won Miss USA, she was wearing a beaded gown with a low neckline that was just right for a crowning moment. At Miss Universe, she wore a silver gown that was so perfect. Like, she was literally a Y2K baddie, okay? Then at Miss Universe, she finished second runner-up, so third in the world. Not bad. Okay, this is why girls from Texas are so confident when they do pageants, because she really ate that. Since her reign as Miss USA, she's raised a family, and to this day, she regularly co-hosts the Miss Texas pageant. Back when I competed at Miss Texas in 2023, she was hosting the pageant, so we were in the same room. Kind of a big deal. Did you know that if for any reason Miss USA can't fulfill her duties, the first runner-up takes over? This rule was created in the 1960s, and ever since then, every year, this statement is made during the pageant when it's down to the last two finalists. Well, this happened to our Miss USA 1995, Shanna Moakler. She was born in Rhode Island and moved to New York as a model. She represented the state of New York at Miss USA and got first runner-up. Miss USA ended up becoming Miss Universe, and she crowned Shanna Moakler to take over her reign as Miss USA 1995. After her reign as Miss USA, she became known for modeling and TV. She actually had a reality show with her husband at the time, Travis Barker. Currently, she is the director of the Miss Nevada pageant and the Miss Utah pageant. Remember that for later. Number 17, Miss USA 1954, Miriam Stevenson. She was born in South Carolina, and she was Miss South Carolina and Miss South Carolina USA. That means she competed at Miss America and Miss USA in the same year. So I think this is very cool, because for people who compete in pageants for a few years, they will do the local pageants for Miss America and Miss USA, but it's very rare that somebody actually competes at Miss America and Miss USA. So it's just very cool. I find this very impressive. They're like rare Pokemon. Miriam Stevenson was the first Miss USA to be crowned Miss Universe. The final score was actually a tie between her and Miss Brazil, Martha Rocha. But a major sponsor for the pageant was Catalina Swimwear. So the tiebreaker was the contestant with the better physique, and that was Miriam Stevenson because she had fitter hips. It was a different time, y'all. She's actually still alive today at 93 years old. And even though Miss Universe was still like in its early years at the time that she won, she established the United States as a powerhouse country in the pageant world. She was the first of many Miss USAs to become Miss Universe, many of whom are on this list. Spoiler. Number 16, Miss USA 1993, Kenya Moore. I'm just going to state the obvious. She is most famous for being on Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Who said that? Who said that? Who said that?
But when she became the second Black woman to be crowned Miss USA at 22 years old, this was the beginning of her career. She was born in Michigan and raised by her grandmother. And during her crowning moment, she was wearing a white gown, which is actually a good luck pageant superstition. After her reign as Miss USA, she starred in various movies and TV shows in the 90s and 2000s. But again, she is most famous for being a cast member on the reality TV show Real Housewives of Atlanta from 2012 to 2025.
Well, you better preach now.
Right? Fabulous. Going with the wind, fabulous. Okay? Thank you.
Well, all right now.
Number 15, Miss USA 2023, Noelia Voigt. Noelia was born in Florida and had many years of pageant experience across multiple systems. In fact, she was first runner-up at Miss Alabama 2 years in a row. After that, she relocated to Utah and won Miss Utah USA. This was around the time that I started following her because she grew very rapidly in popularity on social media. Whenever she was posting updates getting ready for Miss USA, I started to look forward to her content every day because she's so photogenic and her outfits were just unforgettable. Sometimes when you watch a pageant, you just know who's going to win. And this was 100% the case whenever she was competing. Even before Miss USA started, like in the days leading up to the pageant, I knew she was going to win the whole time. She had professional pageant training to perfect her onstage presence, and it paid off because her swimsuit performance was actually insane. And for evening gown, she wore a beautiful yellow gown with a cape. And I'm just going to speak for everyone and say that her evening gown performance was like everybody's favorite part of the pageant. For her final question, she was asked, as a brand ambassador for Miss USA, what will be your contribution to the organization? And her response was, I believe the ability to connect with people is an incredibly important asset that a Miss USA should have. The United States of America is an incredibly diverse country, probably one of the most diverse in the entire world. So being able to connect with everybody is important. As a bilingual Venezuelan American woman, I plan to connect with that community of people because the United States of America is a diverse country and a Miss USA needs to be able to represent every community, no matter their background, their race, their ethnicity, anything. And I would like to be that Miss USA. I'm trying to tell y'all, it was a wrap. Once again, Miss USA 1995, Shannon Moakler, is the director of Miss Utah. So for a former Miss USA to become a national director and have one of your contestants also become Miss USA, it's just a testament to the kind of opportunities that's available to these women whenever they become a part of this legacy. Noelia is probably most known for being the only Miss USA in history to resign. A few months after winning Miss USA, shortly after competing at Miss Universe, she announced that she was giving up her title. She stated that the pageant no longer aligned with her personal values and she needed to protect her mental health. Knowing that this was a lifelong dream that she worked for and she was still willing to give it up just shows how much of a difficult decision this had to have been for her, but she unintentionally became the face of an entire movement. The next day, Miss Teen USA also resigned. In the following weeks, many of her fellow contestants gave up their state titles in solidarity. And in the following months and years, there have been many national and international state title holders who have resigned from their positions whenever they experience mistreatment or whenever the pageant no longer aligns with their personal values. Pageants seem very glamorous, but competing in pageants is not easy. It takes a mental, physical, and emotional toll on every contestant. And a lot of people don't realize being Miss USA is a job. You have contracts and obligations, and you have less autonomy. And in recent years, it's become very normal for beauty queens to come out and be vocal about times that they've experienced abuse or whenever they haven't received their entire prize package or whenever they didn't receive anything that they were promised. So yeah, I think that she was extremely impactful for this because she was an example of how important it is to advocate for yourself and to take care of yourself. She will forever be Miss USA 2023 in my eyes. She could not have been a more perfect representative for Miss USA. Last year, she got married and she's currently in nursing school, which is very special to me because I am a nurse in the ICU. I actually reached out to her recently to give her some pointers as she gets through nursing school. So shout out to Noelia Voigt. Number 14, Miss USA 2021, Elle Smith. She was born in Ohio, and when she won Miss Kentucky, that was her first pageant. That means when she competed in her second pageant ever, she won Miss USA. Insane. Then the next day, she flew to go compete at Miss Universe. Typically, a contestant will get a couple weeks, maybe a couple months to prepare for Miss Universe. She had a day. Then she placed in the top 10. So she needs to be in everybody's top whatever list of the best Miss USAs of all time. Her crowning moment is very memorable to me because she's wearing her natural hair and she is part of a group of people who normalized wearing naturally curly hair during pageants. Just to think about the fact that there was once a time when Black women weren't even allowed to compete at Miss USA. So to see something like that is very important to me. Number 13, Miss USA 2012, Olivia Culpo. She was born in Rhode Island, and after winning Miss Rhode Island, she got a key to the city of Cranston, Rhode Island. Her performance at Miss USA was effortless. And I think that's what makes it so memorable. She's a lot of people's favorite Miss USA because not only was she calculated and intentional during swimsuit and evening gown and her final question, but it just came very naturally. It was so authentic whenever she spoke. Like, I don't know, like it was just like this effortless thing. And she just seemed like the rightful winner of that pageant. And at Miss Universe, her performance was no different. It was that same adorable, kind of authentic nature. The gown that she wore was this like really beautiful pink ball gown. It was so big, she even stumbled on it as she was walking. She just looked like a Disney princess, honestly. And she won Miss Universe. Since her reign as Miss Universe, she has done everything. She's been everywhere. She's done a lot of modeling. She's been on TV. She had like this reality show with her family. She's married to Christian McCaffrey from the San Francisco 49ers, and they're currently expecting their second child. Number 12, Miss USA 1967, Sylvia Hitchcock. She was born in Massachusetts, and she actually grew up in Florida on a chicken farm. She went to the University of Alabama, but she didn't finish her degree because something came up. She won Miss USA. Then she went to Miss Universe, and she won Miss Universe. Right. She is one of my favorite Miss USAs of all time because she's one of my favorite Miss Universe of all time. I don't know. Looking at her, she just has this natural beauty, and I get hypnotized whenever I watch her first walk as Miss Universe because she's just gracefully walking on the stage. She looks like she's floating across the stage. She's just so Miss USA, and she's so Miss Universe. It's just like, yeah. After her reign as Miss USA and Miss Universe, she came back to the Miss Universe pageant to judge it in 1972. But yeah, that's just one of my favorites. Like, she's just the best, and I can't even express why. Like, I don't know. She's just like the best. Just look at her. Number 11, Miss USA 2014, Nia Sanchez. She was born in California, and she started doing pageants when she was 13. She won Miss USA representing the state of Nevada, and she had this gorgeous red gown. During her final question, she was asked something about women who face domestic violence and sexual assault, and she brought up her personal experience as a Taekwondo instructor, and she stated how important it is for women to learn how to defend themselves because she is a 5th degree black belt. At Miss Universe, she wore like an upgraded version of her gown. It was just like a little bit more modern. She was first runner-up at Miss Universe. She represented USA very well. Since her reign as Miss USA, she started a podcast. It's actually pageant related. And she's married to this guy that was on iCarly and Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and Hannah Montana. He's like the guy from Disney Channel. You can actually see him in the crowd cheering for her way back in 2014 when she won Miss USA. It's really cute. Just like that, we're down to our top 10. Number 10 is Miss USA 2016, Deshauna Barber. She was born in Georgia and actually lived in several states across the country because she was a military brat. She was the first member of the military to win Miss USA and the ninth African American woman to win Miss USA. At the Miss USA pageant, she was just a crowd favorite.
The Pentagon recently made the decision to open up all combat jobs to women. Now, some have questioned, yes, great, right? Now, some have questioned whether this has put political correctness over our military's ability to perform at the highest level. What are your thoughts?
As a woman in the United States Army, I think it was an amazing job by our government to allow women to integrate into every branch of the military. We are just as tough as men. As a commander of my unit, I'm powerful. I am dedicated. And it is important that we recognize that gender does not limit us in the United States Army.
Let me just say something, okay? At a pageant, during the final question, it is a random panel of judges asking random questions, but sometimes it's like the right question for the right person. After her reign as Miss USA, she became a pageant coach and motivational speaker. And let me tell you, she is an amazing motivational speaker.
So 3 months later, I compete in my first pageant, and I lose. I go back the second year, compete in the state pageant. I lose. Go back the third year, compete in the state pageant, and lose. Go back the fourth year, compete in the same pageant, and lose. I go back the fifth year, y'all, compete in the state pageant and lose. But guess what? I go back the sixth year. Guess what happens? I lose. I called her on the phone and said, "You told me I could be the next Miss USA." And she says, "Deshauna, keep working, don't quit, keep going back." And in June of 2015, she passes away from leukemia. 6 months later, in December 2015, I win Miss District of Columbia, USA. And 6 months after that, in June of 2016,
District of Columbia!
I become the first soldier to win Miss USA. And you all already know where I'm going with this. At times, our purpose drops in our laps as if the heavens threw it by accident. I ask only one thing of you all today after you leave this building, after accomplishing an amazing goal. Do not fear failure, but please be terrified of regret.
So that clip is actually the first time I ever heard of Deshauna Barber. This was before I started watching pageants. This was before I knew she was Miss USA, and I was just captivated. And so seeing her, like going back and rewatching the pageant, knowing what her journey was and seeing the outcome for her, oof, yeah. So easy top 10, easy. Number 9, Miss USA 2008, Crystal Stewart. She was born in Texas and won Miss Texas after her 5th year competing. It definitely paid off considering the fact that she won Miss USA. She was also a semifinalist at Miss Universe. Since her reign as Miss USA, she's had a very successful film and TV career. She is on Tyler Perry's TV show For Better or For Worse, and she was actually in the Tyler Perry film Acrimony, where Taraji P. Henson gets divorced and goes crazy. She played the new wife. Like, I don't think I knew that before, but I was rewatching the movie the other day and I realized she was in that movie. So yeah, very cool. Also, whenever I competed at Miss Texas, my dad was actually talking to her mom during the pageant, and she was telling him about her journey and how she had to persevere year after year, and it all just ended up paying off. So I'm just sharing that story because my dad would want me to mention that. Number 8, Miss USA 2015, Olivia Jordan. She was born in Oklahoma, and she was actually Miss World America 2013 prior to winning Miss Oklahoma and Miss USA. She is the first person to represent the United States in two of the largest and oldest pageants in the world. This is why I think this stuff is so cool. There's this statistic that people love to talk about every year whenever it's Miss USA, and it's that you are more likely to have a son compete in the Super Bowl than you are to have a daughter compete at Miss America or Miss USA. And so the fact that she won Miss World America, she competed at Miss World, and 2 years later won Miss USA, it's a big deal. That means you were doing the right thing. Okay, we have to talk about the dress. Her dress for Miss USA it's one of the most memorable dresses from Miss USA. This beautiful poofy pink ball gown. It was like the perfect shade of pink, and she looked like a Barbie doll. Like, it's very typical in the adult division of pageants to wear tight-fitting dresses that, you know, kind of form to your silhouette. The big poofy dresses are typically for the teen pageants, but I don't know. It was just perfect for the moment. And it kind of looks exactly like something someone from Oklahoma would wear, if that makes any sense.
I don't understand. If you're not auditioning for Oklahoma, then why do you look like that?
Like what?
Like a country music star.
In a good way or a bad way?
She just had that like classic all-American girl look. And whenever she went to Miss Universe, she was second runner-up. So she was top 3 in the universe. This was actually the same year that Steve Harvey announced the wrong winner. So that year, the Miss Universe pageant was well known for that, but it was the women's absolutely amazing performances that made that pageant that year so memorable. Olivia Jordan actually hosted the Miss USA pageant last year. Number 7, Miss USA 2019, Chesley Chris. She was born in Michigan, and she used her law degree to do pro bono work for people who were facing low-level drug charges. She actually helped work with a legal team that worked for people that were facing life sentences. At the time she won Miss USA, she was the oldest person to win Miss USA at 28 years old. I mentioned her in one of my previous videos when I talked about Black women in pageantry, and I talked about how she has the longest reign in Miss USA history. She was crowned in 2019, then COVID hit, and there weren't any pageants. So she just held on to that title for almost 2 years. 557 days. Crazy. During her reign as Miss USA, she became a correspondent for Extra.
I hear you spent some time in front of the camera as a TV correspondent. Any tips for me tonight?
Yes. So if you get nervous, I would say just take a deep breath and slow down. If you have notes, make sure you look over your notes beforehand. And most importantly, I usually pin my hair back so it's out of my face, but I don't think you'll have that problem.
And she was like really good at her job. She did countless red carpet interviews. She was at the Met Gala. She interviewed Oprah. She was nominated for an Emmy. On January 30th, 2022, Chesley Chris passed away. She took her own life. I want to talk about this. I have to talk about this because it is so difficult to have this conversation. But whenever it comes to mental health, we have to be honest with ourselves about it, and we have to say these things out loud. So many people were just perplexed because it's hard to believe that someone so stunning and intelligent and successful could possibly feel unfulfilled. And Chesley was a multifaceted talent. She was a Division I athlete. She had a law degree. She was famous. She became Miss USA, and she was Miss USA during a year that it was very important because Miss USA, Miss Teen USA, Miss America, Miss Universe, and Miss World were all Black women. I specifically remember seeing this magazine cover featuring her, Miss Teen USA, and Miss America, and that changed my life. I don't know. You just never know who's watching you, right? Whenever you do things and you say things, You have no idea how it's going to impact the people who are witnessing it. And just seeing that moment in history for Black women to be the face of the biggest pageants in the world, it's not about highlighting Black women's accomplishments over other women, but the fact that they were front and center. You were hearing their voices and seeing their faces. And this is the same society that once viewed Black people as not even a whole person. So, yeah, that's a really big deal. But two things can be true at the same time. And I think that she is one of those people that is always trying to do the next thing. This is actually something that resonates with me a lot because growing up, I always made really good grades and I was a dancer, I was an athlete. I got into the college I wanted to go to. I got a nursing degree. And now that I'm a nurse, I just had to work in the ICU. And now that I work in the ICU, now I'm thinking about being certified. And it's ironic that being talented makes life more difficult sometimes because you are in a constant state of trying to go to the next thing. And when your mind is in that constant state of what's next and seeing what more you can add to your plate, it makes your mind very tired. I am not always vocal with my loved ones about how much I struggle with that because you feel obligated to maintain people's expectations of you. And it doesn't matter what accomplishments you achieve. It doesn't matter, what you complete. It doesn't matter what awards you get. It doesn't even matter how often people tell you to your face how good and how talented you are, because there isn't anything that you do that will be enough. You never feel like you've done enough. You will always feel like you need to do more. To be completely honest, people see me as this like kind and funny person, but I experience anxiety and I experience depression, and these are things that I feel very deeply every day. So it's important for people to know that no matter what you're going through, whether you are experiencing the most glamorous moment or the lowest point in your life, whether you're having small emotions or big emotions, you're not alone. You're never alone. The things that you're experiencing is something that a lot of people experience. Chesley had a book that came out in 2024. It was her memoir. It was published by her mom. I actually have the book. It's called By the Time You Read This. And yeah, most of this video has been scripted, but I wanted to say this part from the heart. I just wanted to say what was on my mind because the authenticity and the transparency is very important. And when people take their own life, there's this phrase that like they lost the battle, and I don't really like that phrase because she has been dead for a few years, but her impact is being felt to this day, so that makes her a champion. I've been doing the research for this video, and she's just been on my mind a lot lately this past couple days. And coincidentally, the Miss USA Instagram page has been posting, previous winners every week to just kind of teach about the history of Miss USA. And this morning they posted Chesley Christ. So yeah, she's just been on my mind. And I know that this is like really important to talk about. So I want to ask you to please allow the people who love you to continue experiencing your love. We just need to take it one day at a time, So NASA posts these like astrology pictures of the day every day since 1995. They post images from all over the galaxy. And on January 30th, 2022, the day that Chesley died, it was a picture of the sun. The sun is bright and radiant and warm. And it's here today and it's gone tomorrow. So I think that, I don't know, it's just like perfect. So easily one of the best Miss USAs of all time. Number 6, Miss USA 1990, Carol Gist. She was born in Michigan and was actually the first winner from Michigan. And she was the first Black woman to be crowned Miss USA. Mind you, the pageant started in like 1952, so that's like 38 years. And she was the first. This is like a monumental moment in the history of the world, dare I say. I've been talking about how impactful some of these Black women are and how it just personally feels really nice for me to witness. But it all started with Carol Gist. And I actually have to talk about her evening gown. This is the best dress worn at Miss USA, period. It's probably my favorite dress in the world. I hope she still has it so that she can give it to me. But yeah, her fabulousness did not end there because she got first runner up at Miss Universe. Yeah, first Black woman to be crowned ever, and she did pretty good. Once again, stuff like this I think is very important. The representation matters, and the representation matters because I guarantee you there was plenty of people watching that and thinking, because she did it, I know that I can do it too.
Well, each and every one of us are different and unique in our own ways. And I do believe I have something positive to share with the young people of America, especially young women. That any goals you have and desires only in America can you achieve them if you believe within yourself and put God in front of you. And that if you keep believing and keep striving, you can be whatever you want to be.
Number 5, Miss USA 1980, Shawn Weatherly. She was born in Texas and represented South Carolina at Miss USA when she was crowned. Eventually, she went on to compete at Miss Universe and won Miss Universe. Ding, ding, ding! Yet again, another Miss USA who ended up winning Miss Universe. Okay. Okay. Sorry. I like to watch Miss Universe compilation videos. Like I said, I'm a big pageant fan. Okay. Whenever I was preparing to compete at Miss Houston and Miss Texas, I was studying these pageants. Okay. I was trying to see, like, I was hoping that the essence would like rub off on me or something. So I love watching the Miss Universe compilation videos. Every single time I watch one of those, I can't wait until they get to Shawn Weatherly. I don't know what it is. She is so pleasing to look at. Okay. Like, oh my gosh, just like a normal girl from a normal town and then just casually wins Miss USA and then casually wins Miss Universe. Also, when she won the Miss USA pageant and when she won the Miss Universe pageant, she's wearing the same dress. Let me tell you, that doesn't happen, okay? Now, if somebody does like some local pageants and things like that, it's very common for people to like re-wear their dresses because they're not cheap. But I don't know if anyone has ever done that, okay? She won Miss Universe in the same gown that she won Miss USA. Talk about timeless. And it was this like beautiful, sparkly, like golden dress. And it had this like drip detail on her sleeves and on the hem. Oh my gosh. She devoured that. She ate that real bad. She was that girl. She was invited to the White House and she was pretty famous, y'all. She was on Baywatch and she was in Police Academy 3, which I feel like is kind of random, but yeah. That is my queen. Easy top 5. Whenever I was thinking of this list, I knew immediately she was going to be there. I plan on doing a Miss Universe video, like the best Miss Universe of all time. Spoiler alert, she will be on the list, okay? She's gonna be in. She's not gonna be number 5, okay? Like, oh my God, I can't. I'm just so excited, like even talking about her. I don't know why I find her so beautiful. And obviously being from the United States, seeing Miss USA become Miss Universe is like very inspiring. Number 4, Miss USA 2004, Shandy Finnessy. She was born in Missouri, and she's actually one of 3 women to represent Missouri at both Miss America and Miss USA. Once again, rare Pokemon. That is crazy. That's actually crazy. When she competed at Miss Missouri under the Miss America pageant, she played Flight of the Bumblebee on piano after slamming her hand in a car door. And she still won. Her dress for Miss USA was just one of the most iconic dresses that we've seen from a Miss USA winner. It was just like this golden nude color. It was very appropriate for the time. Like it just looked so early 2000s. And the light blue detail underneath, it was one of a kind. And she was ahead of her time. Like that is like, oh my God. And then she had probably one of the most memorable performances at Miss Universe. She was first runner up at Miss Universe. And let me just tell you something about her stage presence. Her performance was so effortless. She had this like youthful, genuine smile every single time she was on screen. And I'm just going to be quite honest right now. Whenever you spend a lot of time training for pageants and practicing over and over again, you can tend to look very fake. But there was nothing like that about her performance, okay? It was just, I don't know, it was effortless. Like she wasn't really trying. Like she just looked like she was having fun. And her dress for Miss Universe was even better. Oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. That was beautiful, 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 beautiful. Yeah, she made the USA very, very proud. Like I said, she placed second, but I don't care. She's literally the most memorable person that competed that year. Fun fact, whenever I was competing at Miss Texas, she was one of the judges. Before the pageant starts, a couple days prior, there is interview like with the panel of judges. And when I walked in the room and I saw her, I think that I stopped breathing for a moment. Like I was trying really hard to remain poised, but on the inside, I was fangirling so hard. She thought it was like fascinating that I was a vegetarian. I just remember that like interview being very relaxed and like conversational. So definitely a core memory for me. Number 3, Miss USA 2022, Arbany Gabriel. She was born in Texas, and in her very first pageant, she placed in the top 5. The next year, she was first runner up, and in her very third pageant, she won Miss Texas. Her dress from Miss Texas is literally one of a kind because it was made by a Filipino designer named Ryan Fernandez, and he actually followed Arbany throughout her whole pageant career. And then Arbany Gabriel won Miss Universe. Let's just recap what I just told you. Miss Texas, when she was crowned Miss Texas, that was her third pageant ever. Okay. Then she went from winning Miss Texas to winning Miss Universe. Right. Her performance at Miss Universe was perfect. Okay. She had like the perfect color swimsuit. They also had these capes that they got to design, and hers said her slogan, "If not now, when?" And during the preliminary competition, her evening gown was this stunning fuchsia color. I just was obsessed with it. I wanted her to wear it for the finals night so badly. For finals, she wore the most unique gown ever. It was a handmade black and blue gown that she designed herself. And I don't know, she just commanded the stage. She also, in my opinion, is one of those people who, I mean, the whole time you're watching the pageant, you just know she's gonna win. I hosted a watch party for Miss Universe this year, and just watching that live meant a lot to me. Her mom is from Texas and her dad is from the Philippines. Not only does she have fans from the United States, not only does she have fans from the Philippines, who are some of the biggest pageant fans in the world, by the way, she has fans all over the world. Like, dear Arbany Gabriel, everyone loves you. She traveled all over the world as Miss Universe. She was on magazine covers. She was on the news. Like, she was the moment, okay? Like, her reign as Miss Universe, she had a moment. Not only has she come back to host Miss USA and Miss Universe, she's hosted international pageants. She has a degree in fashion design, and she used that degree to teach sewing classes to women who were victims of domestic violence. She is very, very passionate about eco-friendly fashion. She's always upcycling pieces and repurposing fabrics. She hand makes a lot of her wardrobe. She's just really, really talented at what she does. Project Runway actually just announced she's going to be on the upcoming season in July. You can stream it on Freeform, Disney Plus, and Hulu. Shameless plug for my queen. You don't understand. I'm like actually obsessed with her. Also, she did interact with me on Instagram one time because I commented on something she posted. I think she said something like, her guilty pleasure is eating mustard on toaster strudel. And I was like, girl, what? Also, yes, there's more. We have the same birthday. So you can do what you want with that information. Oh my gosh. Now it's time for our first runner-up. Number 2 is Miss USA 1997, Brooke Bahealani Lee. Oh, sorry. Ugh! She was born in Hawaii, and I loved absolutely every single thing about her entire performance at Miss USA. So obviously, whenever you do pageants, there's a lot of practicing. And whenever you are on stage, it can come off looking pretty rehearsed, but this was not the case for her. She had an infectious smile. And again, she's just one of those people who is like flawless and effortless on stage. So at this time, being super thin was the beauty standard. And it was very common for that supermodel body to just pretty much be the only way that a woman was allowed to present herself. Miss Universe 1996 was very publicly criticized about her appearance. Like, imagine calling Miss Universe fat. None of those people knew what they were talking about.
All right, we have a very difficult question. Miss Universe has recently been the subject of a lot of press attention about her weight. If this happened to you, how would you handle it?
I think I would take a good hard look at myself, and I'd look from the inside out, and I'd know that I was the same girl that was crowned that day, and it really didn't matter what I looked like on the outside because I won for what I was in here. So if I go up, I go down, I get taller, I get shorter, my nose gets bigger or smaller, I'm still who I was when that crown was on my head. and I'm a good representative no matter what.
She won Miss USA, and then she won Miss Universe. Oh my God. She is one of my favorite Miss Universe of all time. Clearly. Obviously. Yeah. She continued her completely flawless, completely effortless, and energetic performance when she was on the Miss Universe stage. She just dominated swimsuit and her evening gown. Okay, we need to take a moment for this gown. She was way ahead of her time, okay? Vibrant blue color, and the midsection was nude and bedazzled. Her entire look for that night was just unbelievable, okay? And she hands down had the most memorable response to a final question in the history of Miss Universe.
All right, here's the final question. If there were no rules in your life for one day and you could be outrageous, what would you do?
I would eat everything in the world. You do not understand. I would eat everything twice.
Thank you, Miss USA.
She's a Miss Universe legend. Also, not her liking my comment from a couple weeks ago. She came back to judge the Miss Universe pageant back in 2017, and she's a hula dancer.
Now, I'm told you are a professional hula dancer. What is that? What do you do professionally?
That means I'm a hula dancer and I get paid to do it.
Now,
before I get to the best Miss USA of all time, let's talk about some honorable mentions. The Texas Aces. From 1985 to 1989, Texas won Miss USA 5 consecutive years in a row. Laura Herring, Christy Fitchner, Michelle Royer, Courtney Gibbs, and Gretchen Paul-Hemus. This is an unprecedented feat. This will never be replicated ever again in the world. All of these women advanced to top 10 at Miss Universe. 2 of them advanced to second runner-up, and 1 of them was first runner-up at Miss Universe. Also, in 1986, the year that Christy Fitchner won Miss USA, the first runner-up was Halle Berry. Yes, a lot of people don't know that the globally recognized Oscar award-winning actress Halle Berry actually started as a beauty queen. After Miss USA, she won Miss World America. So how's that for a fun fact? Next is Mary Leona Gage, Miss USA 1957. Shortly after she was crowned Miss USA, she was dethroned because it was found out that she was married and had children. So back in the day, women who were married or mothers were not allowed to compete. In fact, it wasn't until 2023 that married women and mothers were allowed to compete at Miss USA and Miss Universe.
To ask her some things. Leona, why did you go into the Miss Universe saying you were married when you weren't?
Well, the reason that I did it is because, as I said to reporters, we needed the money. And I didn't go in the Maryland contest to win it. I went in for someone to see me and maybe I can get modeling jobs.
Well, what has happened?
So even though we have come a long way, it's hard to believe that that used to be a rule, because being a wife and a mother doesn't hinder your capabilities to follow your dreams. If anything, it makes you more capable. So if she could see what the pageant looks like today, she would be very proud. Even though she was dethroned shortly after winning the title, I think she deserves to be recognized on this list because I think she's very cool. Number 1, Miss USA 1995, Chelsea Smith. So you remember how I said that Shannon Moakler was first runner-up and she ended up being Miss USA whenever Miss USA won Universe? Yeah, that was this girl. She was born in California, and when she won Miss Texas, that was actually her second pageant. She is the only person who won Miss Texas to be Miss Congeniality, and the only person to win Miss USA to win Miss Congeniality. So the Miss Congeniality Award is something that is presented that the other contestants vote on. So the crown goes to whoever the judges pick. But Miss Congeniality is recognized by their peers for having good character and just a pleasure to be around. So the fact that it wasn't enough. It's not enough recognition to win the entire pageant, okay? She has to be acknowledged for having good character. Not once, but twice. Period. Also, fun fact, she was Miss Universe. She is my favorite Miss Universe of all time. I'm getting hype because I love her so much. I'm literally obsessed with her. It's like clinical obsession, okay? I can't remember if it was Miss USA or Miss Universe, but on stage she was asked, how it feels to be like the first Black woman. By the way, she is the first Black woman to win Miss Texas. Okay, she was the first Black woman to win Miss Texas. Right. And she actually gave a thoughtful and humble response because she's mixed race. Her father is Black and her mom is white, and she was raised by her white grandparents. So instead of allowing herself to be the voice of the entire Black community, she stated that she is proud of her Black heritage, but her upbringing was multicultural. Her gown for Miss Universe, it was just like this simple red gown, but it was so elegant. It was so stunning. I just loved her hair. I loved her makeup, her swimsuit performance, her evening gown performance. I think she scored the best in every category. Obviously, I just loved her smile, and she had this way of answering questions that seemed so true to herself.
Recently, Hillary Clinton consulted a group of female journalists about changing her image. If you were her advisor, what would you suggest that she do?
I would tell her not to change her image, actually. I believe very strongly in who I am, and I've seen 50 ladies tonight who believe very strongly in who they are, and I really think that Hillary Clinton wouldn't have made it as far as she has if she wouldn't have been herself. So I really, truly think she should stay exactly the way she is.
Chelsea, thank you.
In 2011, she was a recipient of the Influential Multiracial Public Figure Award. In 2018, she passed away, but her legacy lives on. To this day, she's just felt, okay? Clearly. Yeah, she's actually on my vision board. Whenever I first even thought of competing in pageants and I saw that, she is who I want to be. Again, a girl from Texas going straight from Miss Texas to Miss USA. Right. Greatest of all time. Yeah. As you can see, there's a lot of girls from Texas on this list. Just like how I said, the United States is a powerhouse country in international pageants. Texas is a powerhouse state in the United States. Okay. Did you know Texas has the most winners at Miss USA out of any state? So there's a reason why every year over 100 girls compete at Miss Texas. The numbers do not lie. Thank you so much for watching my video. It means a lot to me because I just love this topic so much. If you enjoyed it, go check out some of my other videos. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And exercise your mind, body, and soul so you can be stronger.